gates of Tartarus. It has 3 heads and a snake's tail, and is the son of Echidna and Typhon, god of storms. It viciously attacks both the living who near the gates and the dead who try to escape.
Hello Internet, I'm HamsterBomb.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Demonica, your Shin Megami Tensei Demon Compendium, where we look at the real-life lore that influenced the designs behind the series' demons. Kim, the moon is shining brightly. What religious, mythological, historical, fictional, cryptozoological character or concept will we be summoning tonight?
That was a really long list.
It's okay, I didn't need a breath. But
Cerberus.
Thanks for your concern.
Oh, okay.
Cerberus. Oh, it's a doggy. I know
What is that?
That's about all I know. It's okay. No, it's okay. I got more research than that for this episode. You look at the time and you were a little concerned. All I know is it's a doggy.
And cut.
Now, a little housekeeping before we get started. Good news. After a lot of work, Demonica is now available on, here's another long list, YouTube, Spotify,
Stop
Amazon
taking a
Music,
breath.
Audible, Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Overcasts, and Pocket Casts. I haven't even heard of half of these things.
Anywhere you get your podcast. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, now you can listen to us on your preferred platform wherever you go. Enjoy. That took me a lot of work. Anyway, in related news, we mentioned in, I think, the Angel episode that I was going to be starting some new stuff. I did manage to get Raito Remastered in, and I started it, and I love it. It's wonderful. Also, I started Shin Megami Tensei If, which is also really interesting, seeing where Persona came from.
Just can't stop him.
Yeah. She can't. But it's okay. Raito just came out, so I feel like I'm more obligated to play the new thing, even though it's a PS2 game.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that Pokemon scare, though, with how it could take them down?
Yeah, so there's a recent Pokemon patent that just went through where Nintendo just patented the idea of capturing creatures, or not even something that specific. It was very vague, saying using characters as your allies, which defines Shin Megami Tensei. Even Persona, that's the name of the game, and it's older than Pokemon. So the absolute buffoons who worked in the legal patent office who allowed Nintendo to have this were not in any way informed on how real life works. So unfortunately, they have this patent, and if they wanted to, they could go out and say that Shin Megami Tensei 6 or Persona 6 is not permitted to exist because it violates their patent. However, that's likely not ever going to happen. Pokemon and Nintendo are way too stupid to understand that. That's why they went for this patent, because they don't understand that there's so many other games that are out there that have done this after them and before them and are not Pokemon and sell well and people love them. So, no, I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried about the legal system being so boneheaded.
Well, I've heard stuff about the Japan legal system.
Yeah, that's really stupid. Now, they mostly did this to stop Pal World, but this was not the way to stop Pal World.
People are still playing that?
Yeah, people are still playing that.
I'm shocked people are still playing that.
Yeah, people are also playing Shin Megami Tensei. You know why? Because it's fun. It's also older than Pokemon, as I mentioned before, and if anything's going to be patented, it should have been Shin Megami Tensei, but they're not going to patent it because that's stupid.
A video game, you should not patent a video game genre.
Or
that
a
just
mechanic.
feels
Yeah,
wrong.
there's people who've patented mechanics, and you can't do certain mechanics anymore. Like the Nemesis system is patented. You can't do that.
Well, and I guess it's just because we're exploring all these new rules and things that we have with video games, which are a modern technology to have, along with, the internet and things. So I guess maybe they're thinking, we need to add more rules to this. I don't know.
It's the fact that somebody with a lot of money, Nintendo, wanted to push their weight around to smaller developers who didn't have a lot of money. And that's all this is about. They want to make sure that they can push people around, and they're not going to push Sega around. Sega is who owns Atlus, who owns all the Shin Megami Tensei stuff that we talk about. They're not going to get into a fight with them. Companies that are that large, they're more buddy-buddy with each other.
Okay,
at this
I would
day
hope
and age.
so.
They, in the 90s, they sure hated each other's guts. But nowadays, they're at least they're on better terms. Anyway, one more thing in housekeeping before we move on. I would like for us to discuss something that we mentioned last time, and it was something that Kim and I were not exactly on the same page on, so we did a little research to make absolutely sure that we were correct, and we cleared it up. We were saying that witches and Wicca are or are not the same thing. We both were arguing different sides. And Kim, can you clear that up for us?
Yeah, so we went in, we did some more because, we knew we were wrong either way. So we wanted to make sure we had clarification on it. We love learning about new things like that. So what I found out is that, yes, I'll say it, I was wrong. I think you were arguing the correct thing. That Wicca is a religion that started in the 40s and 50s. And witches practice spells and other magical practices. So some witches can be Wicca, but not all witches practice Wicca.
So you can think of it like a Venn diagram, except witches are a group of people and Wicca is a religion. So that's already two different things.
And so you also don't have to be a witch to practice Wicca.
Right, but you can. So that's where
Correct.
the Venn diagram would overlap, but it's not like an enormous overlap like, trying to say that all bugs are insects or all insects are bugs. It's not like that kind of overlap of a Venn diagram. This is something where, like, they're barely touching. They do, but it's not all the time. So anyway, that clears that little thing up with Baphomet last time. Now, with that out of the way, what do we first think of when we hear the name Cerberus?
We did chat a little bit before this episode that we think that we both probably encountered Cerberus with the same thing, and that would be with
who
Disney's...
puts the glad in Gladiator?
Disney's Hercules, because we are both 90s kids, so, that was a pretty big movie back in the day.
Yes, that was something that just happened to come out exactly when we were kids, and probably would have got the idea of Greek Roman myth in our head before anything else would have.
It was possible. It was in my head before this. My mom was obsessed with watching the Hercules TV show with Kevin Sorbo on it. And that came out 2 years before Disney's Hercules did. But, Disney's Hercules, I feel like my memory would have been better at that point. Still being like a little bit on the younger children.
But I definitely think of the Disney Hercules monster as well. I never actually owned the movie, though. I saw it once at a cousin's house, but after that I asked for it at home, and instead my parents got me a cassette tape to listen to, like a bedtime story, because this is going to be Hercules at home. And it was not the same at all. So I saw this really
You have Hercules at home.
Yeah, that's what it was. And the thing is, I was wowed by it because that was the first time I think I remember seeing CG. It was really cool, and I was the Hydra looked really awesome. Cerberus, it looks really cool, and all the effects that they have in that movie, I hadn't seen anything like that. And of course, giant monsters. It was cool. I wanted to see it.
It was the coolest thing. My parents took me to go see it in theaters, and I was so excited to see this CG.
But instead, it was something that my dad spliced in between. I had cassette tape stories to listen to of Star Wars, so I had, Darth Vader's...
Oh my gosh, you had cassettes?
Yeah.
You listened to Darth Vader as you're falling asleep at
night. I was trying to fall asleep, and I had, da, 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 da. And it was either that, Rolling Stones, Bon Jovi, or The Clash. It was my dad's old cassettes that he would play to try and put me to sleep.
And I'm sorry for all you younger people. The cassettes are MP4s. I don't even know what to compare them to now. Do we use CDs anymore?
No, I don't think anybody uses CDs. You go into a used bookstore and you're not even going to see these things anymore. If you ever held a VHS tape, which is what I had, well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I didn't have for Hercules.
Mine's in the basement now
we
as we're speaking.
We have VHS tapes in the basement. Yeah,
Hercules. It's in the basement.
The same idea, you would put it in a cassette player, which would become a CD player, which would become obsolete hardware.
Which would then become a DVD player, and then become a Blu-ray player, which also then became obsolete, so went back to being a DVD player.
A little cassette that has a ribbon inside that it spins inside of a machine, and it reads and plays music.
It doesn't hold a lot of information.
Nope. And even if you wanted just an album on one of these things, they would have an A side and a B side, and sometimes that wouldn't even cover the whole album. That's why older albums were kind of short, and it was so that they would fit on the cassette.
So I also did want to talk about how the depiction of Cerberus in Disney's Hercules is, I don't know, that's the traditional look for Cerberus anymore.
Well, we think so because that's where we started from.
Right. Well, I mean, it's depicted as a hellhound, black, red eyes, and 3 heads, which, I'm struggling with SMT, but
silly cartoony teeth too. So yeah, anyway, in case you haven't seen it, Cerberus appears as a large black 3-headed dog with cartoonishly evil features. Like Kim said, he has solid red eyes and huge fangs. And somehow Disney is gonna be more lore accurate than SMT. Just wait.
I know, that's shocking.
Have you read any of the original source material that Disney makes their movies on? Disney is about to be more lore accurate than Shin Megami
On
Tensei.
a creature design.
On
You
a
are not
creature-
talking about the rest of that movie, because that movie makes no sense
Yeah,
compared
the rest
to...
of Hercules is kind of completely
Guys,
bonkers.
I love Disney's Hercules, don't get me wrong.
Zeus doesn't spend the entire movie impregnating all the women he finds. Like, already, immediately, like, he's a nice dad. He couldn't be more far off from the original.
Hercules likes Megra?
Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
But before we get into that, let's talk about Cerberus as it appears in SMT. Cerberus is one of the most important icons of this series. Were it not for Jack Frost basically being the series Pikachu, then it would be Cerberus, who has appeared in every single game in the entire series, beginning with Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei on the Famicom. He even plays a major role in the novels, becoming the familiar of the protagonist, Akemi Nakajima. This becomes relevant to the games as releases of the first Shin Megami Tensei make it clear that the game's protagonist received their dog Pascal from a Mr. Nakajima, making the books canon to the original games. Though this to me brings up the question, did Akemi Nakajima or Steven create the demon summoning program? Because they both kind of did at that point. So from my research, Mr. Nakajima did actually create it, and Steven spread it around and improved upon it in order to arm the global population with a means to control and fight back against demons. Thank you, Stephen Hawking. But remember, of course, this has no relation to any living people.
Right.
That's why we get those messages in the beginning of every SMT game anymore. It's because they had Stephen Hawking give out the demon summoning program in the original. Regardless, Cerberus has an extensive history, which we will flesh out more in just a bit, but it needs to be clear here at the very beginning just how far back this character's roots go in the series. Kim, it is time for your pop quiz question.
My pop quiz!
Cerberus has some interesting relatives who haven't been giving nearly as much attention as him. Of them, which of these SMT demons is not a direct sibling to Cerberus?
Oh my gosh.
You have to know
No, I know, because I am going to ask you the exact same pop question.
this. Oh my goodness. It's the exact same question? Well, let's see whose answers. Okay, hold on. How about this? I'm not gonna give you answers then. Can you name 3 of the demons? Maybe 4. Name 4 demons that are Cerberus's siblings in Shin Megami Tensei.
Orthus.
Hydra.
Greyon.
I don't know if that one's a demon.
It is. It's in 2.
Okay, it's not one of my options.
Sphinx.
Okay.
Were there more?
Yes, there's more.
Claydon wasn't one.
I have 2 more that I have on my list.
That was the thing. So I made multiple choice for you, and then I wrote
this was
down...
multiple choice.
Oh, yeah, you're just making it harder on me.
Well, considering it was your question for me, I might as well make sure
but
that...
I think I only wrote 3 of them down. Oh, Chimera.
Chimera?
I
Yes,
forgot about
Chimera.
Chimera.
And also Manticore. Manticore in several lists I found is a brother.
I was not finding it in any of the lists I found.
Okay, but still, the ones I had on my list here were Orthus, Horkos, Chimera, and Hydra, and the answer of which one is not is Horkos.
Well, now I don't have a pop question.
Well, anyway, now we get a quick little thing about Horkos. Horkos is a Greek god of death who appears as a major antagonist in one of the layers of the Schwarzwelt in Strange Journey. So, is Greek, is not a sibling of Cerberus, though. So if you take Orthus, Chimera, or Hydra to a negotiation with Cerberus in SMT5 or many of the other games in the series, you might get some exclusive dialogue where they talk it out and reminisce about their family. The interaction between Hydra and Cerberus is particularly funny in SMT5, as Cerberus wonders out loud why it took till the 5th game for all his brothers to make an appearance.
Oh, and he is possibly also related to Gorgon.
Yeah, there was a lot. So that's why...
There were so many.
There was a ton. It was basically... So, as the opening narration quote told us, his mother was Echidna, and his father was Typhon. Typhon is, like, the Lord of Monsters or something like that?
I'm gonna go into it. Like, I have
yeah,
a
I'm
whole
sure you
thing
will.
on.
But, like, being the progenitor of monsters means you're pretty much related to all Greek monsters. So, that's why me trying to pull one out of the ether was harder than finding one that was just just actually a sibling of Cerberus.
So, yeah, and I had written down, like, in one of my questions, I had made a list of ones that were not specifically in SMT, but they were his siblings in other games related to SMT, but they were not specifically SMT games, like Nemia.
I've never heard of that.
Or is it Nime, maybe? And then Calydon.
I've never heard of that either.
So...
You would have gotten me with your question. You probably should have still asked me.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's why I was telling you before earlier this week. I was like, if you sit there and think about it, you'll know.
Though Cerberus is generally a late game demon, it can be obtained very early on in several games in the series due to story relevance. Cerberus in the early games was fantastic for giving early access to Samarakarm recovery, as well as wide-reaching fire breath and boasting incredibly high strength skills. However, this also existed as a tutorial for the original Magnetite system. Kim, are you familiar with that?
You give them Magnetite so that way they don't leave you every step of the way or something.
You're actually really close. So in SMT, all demons require Magnetite in order to maintain their forms in the physical world. Stronger demons required larger amounts of Magnetite, and every step you take in the game, you have to pay that demon's due of Magnetite in order to keep them summoned. If you run out, they take health damage per step until they eventually die and retire to the stock. You could gain more Magnetite by defeating enemies, but early on, maintaining a powerful demon like Cerberus was not sustainable long-term in an area full of very low-level demons. He is best used for smashing the first boss, Daumon, as you lose him after that point anyway. Nowadays, Cerberus is usually a powerful late-game demon with strong biting and slashing attacks alongside its trademark fire abilities. Its strongest stat is almost always its strength, generally followed by vitality. You can expect Cerberus to either reflect or absorb fire attacks while also carrying a weakness to ice. Cerberus is a protective guardian and therefore has always been aligned with neutrality. Because he's a good boy. And he does whatever Master says, he's going to be along for the ride.
I just want you to know I also have the phrase good boy in my script.
I hope so.
Because he's a good boy. He's the definitive good boy.
Are they a good boy? If you have multiple heads, you have multiple brains.
No, they still only ever refer to it as he.
So the brain's somewhere down by the shoulders.
Maybe.
So there's one brain in there. Do they have one digestive system?
Well, we'll get into it.
Oh, good. I'm glad that comes up.
Not like organs specifically, but like how much the body and physical appearance is just morphed and changed over time.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get into that, too, of how it's changed its look over time in SMT, because, whoo! I mean, if you've been around as long as Cerberus, you're gonna have different designs.
Yeah, but you're still not as close to it as Disney is.
Yeah, nope. Considering Cerberus is such an important character in the novel, he was given a considerable story role in the games as well, especially in the first two SMT games. As I mentioned earlier, the protagonist's dog, Pascal, was given to him by Akemi Nakajima, likely just as a reference to the novels and not for any particular story reason. Cerberus was Nakajima's familiar, so him giving away this demon in disguise was probably in hopes of protecting the protagonist. If you haven't figured it out yet, Pascal is actually Cerberus, though in the form of a husky. Early on, you'll discover that your mother has been killed by the demon Amana Jaku, who is now wearing her fleshy skin as a disguise in order to fool you into accepting it as your mother. I love that game. After killing it, you can add Pascal to your party and take him with you as you abandon your home. He won't fight or anything, but you will get a tough choice when you reach the Cathedral of Shadows. Pascal appears as a fusible demon, and you can combine him with anything to make the high-level Cerberus, who remains loyal to you and obeys your commands even though he vastly overreaches your level. Once you defeat the boss Daumon, Cerberus, or Pascal if you didn't have the heart to fuse your own dog, which honestly I didn't, leaps into the nearby terminal where they teleport away and they are gone for a large part of the game. Next, we meet them. Cerberus is guarding the entrance to Tokyo Destinyland. It's Tokyo Disneyland, but they couldn't say that. And it seems to have completely forgotten us. If we bring a golden apple, it purifies whatever happened to Cerberus, and he comes to his senses and chooses to join back up with the party. In SMT2, we get a similar scenario where we recruit Cerberus early on below his level. We are lent a Cerberus from a character named Madame or Madam. I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to say that, but they're the leader of the city of Valhalla, and they want us to track down a troublemaker troublesome character. Later on in the story, the entire area of Valhalla gets swallowed by Abaddon and becomes a void, and Cerberus can be found near the void and will rejoin the party from then on. Also, to tie this back to the original novels yet again, the reissues of SMT2 added some exposition that reveals that this Cerberus is the same one from SMT1, meaning it's the same one from the novels. From here on, Cerberus tends to get important roles, but isn't tied back to the beginning any longer. In SMT If, he's trapped on a broken floppy disk at the school. In SMT3, he's guarding the burial chamber in the depths of Amala, and so on. Listing his every incarnation and appearance would become exhaustive, but I at least wanted to establish the origin of the in-game character and how we got to the demon we know him as today.
I hope we're talking about that appearance next, because
Yes,
I got some words about that.
We are. Now, since Cerberus has been in every single entry of the series, recounting all of his designs would be insane. Meaning, I must be the right person for the job, because here we go. In Megami Tensei, Cerberus looks like a magenta crystal kabuki dog with a large white mane. His colors are totally different on his key art, however, where he is white and blue. It more resembles a lion than a dog, especially when we move on to Megami Tensei 2, where he now looks like a cyborg Mufasa. Speaking of cyborgs, they really leaned into the idea with the next release, the Super Famicom remakes of the first two games. Good God here. Kuyaku, Megami Tensei 1 and 2. Basically, I don't know if you know this, Kim, they did Super Nintendo remakes of the original Famicom games that were not Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2. They were like more traditional verbatim remakes. Anyway, that's what they're called. So anyway, in those games, though the sprite looks more like a mechanical dog, the artwork reveals it is intended to be an armored hound or lion of some sort. The tail has gotten very long and has heavy ears. The blue of the original is more extreme, with the main pattern being blue and black stripes, making the sprite look even more mechanical. Then we come to Shin Megami Tensei, where Cerberus establishes his look from here on, with some exceptions. Now Cerberus is a white dog lion with a grayish-white mane. Its tail is now ribbed with thick armored scutes. Though here it is yellow, the tail will change to gray occasionally as the games go on, as it does in the PlayStation re-release of SMT1. Here we can clearly see the tail is emerging from the spinal cord. The next notable design comes from Strange Journey, where Cerberus finally gets something you've probably been wondering about this whole time: 2 more heads. Yes, this 3-headed fire-breathing dog lion is finally starting to look like its inspirational creature. Granted, the tail still isn't a snake, and it still looks like the original design with a few more spines sticking out across its legs, but still, personally I prefer the classic designs, so I'm happy to see its newest incarnation in Persona 5X looks like its design that we have seen since the Super Famicom.
Ooh, I am trying to follow along with you and look at the images at the same time, and I'm noticing on his newest artwork, his ears have finally come off directly off of his face.
You mean they don't come out of the mane anymore?
They come out of the mane, versus before they were like coming off of his cheek.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I was like, that's a good update, because it looks a little weird. He looks like a bat in the face to me in the older games.
Yeah, it looks like a bat's a good explanation of the face, because it's kind of ratty, like a pig or something.
Yeah.
Now for the weird stuff. In Digital Devil Saga, Cerberus instead looks like a 3-headed aquatic dog whale thing. Its body is sleek black and dark gray, and its heads and tail are flat for a hydrodynamic design, I think. No, I have absolutely no idea why. It does only appear as a boss and can't be summoned, so I assume they wanted it to look different for some sort of narrative effect that I can't tell you because I haven't played this one. In Persona 3, the playable dog character, Koromaru, has his own persona of Cerberus, who once again looks totally different to reflect being a persona instead of a simple demon, which, come on, we gotta at least understand, this is a change that I'm sure makes more sense.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, if Koromaru all of a sudden summoned just plain old Cerberus from SMT1...
Everybody would freak out and be very excited.
Okay, I would freak out and be very excited, but also that's very basic, and I think the design they went for was trying to make it look, more Persona 3. Persona 3 has a very distinct style. When summoned this way, Cerberus is a large 3-headed black dog with chained collars that tether it to mechanical wings. Strangely enough, each of its legs are replaced with trident-like pitchforks. At least this one absolutely looks like a dog and is not part lion.
You were saying it, I just noticed it looking at this picture at the same time. I was like, does he have pitchforks for feet?
She was frantically pointing at her phone while I was trying to read my notes.
It was so funny. I didn't want to interrupt you. It was great looking.
I knew what you saw.
I didn't even notice it the first time through. I was just like, oh, this is a pretty good design. Wait, what?
I imagine it on, a gymnasium floor, just like a cat who's trying to run. And yes, of course, there is cute, silly art for demi-kids, where Cerberus looks like a purple Digimon with bright red spiky anime hair and metal cuffs on his ankles and tail. There's also some absolutely hideous artwork we got from the last Bible and another Bible games, where they accidentally created a chibi gone wrong. It's Cerberus's design, but somehow the most ugly interpretation I've ever seen, and I can't describe it in any other way.
It's like disproportional. It's not like chibi in the cute way, it's just...
It looks more demonic than Cerberus does.
It looks wrong. It just looks wrong.
It's ugly.
It has no pupils, but I mean, old Cerberus doesn't have pupils, so I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
Okay,
I mean, the glowing eyes, sure. They had the glowing eyes in the old
and his
games.
tail looks more like a poop coming out of his butt, so that's not helping. I don't know how else to describe this image.
Last but not least, we also have the animation designs, which aren't consistent at all. We've seen him in the OVA adaptation of the original novel, where he appears as a half-mechanical purple spiky tiger lion. Honestly, it looks a lot like its original sprite from the first game, and based on the release of the OVA, this makes a lot of sense.
He was recognizable, because I remember we watched that one, right? That's
we
the
did.
one we watched.
We saw
like,
this and the other one
Cerberus,
that I'm going to talk about here. So finally, this brings us to Shin Megami Tensei Tokyo Revelation, which is a super weird anime OVA based off a manga where Cerberus does appear with another major role, this time in taking down a powerful Osei. This Cerberus looks like a large striped gray lion with long ears. It's actually not too far off from its SMT1 design, all things considered. It's just from a weird piece of SMT history. When you're as old and well recognized as Cerberus, you'll end up with some strange designs throughout the course of your life. When you think about it, due to his origins being from the novel and later referenced in the games, he's one of the only demons to actually be older than Jack Frost.
Huh. You know, I just find it funny because I think about how, like, just comparing him to, like, Pikachu, we just went from Chubby Chew to now he's Skinny Chew, but it always
Pikachu
looks like Pikachu.
Yeah, he just, like, spent some time at Planet Fitness, but it's always Pikachu.
It's always Pikachu, whereas Cerberus, we're like, that could be Cerberus.
Yeah. Like, whoa, what have you been up to in Persona 3?
Because I remember the movie with the Osei in it, too, and I remember thinking, I think that's Cerberus.
Yeah.
But it was pretty recognizable.
Yeah, I fought something in Kingdom Hearts that looked more like Cerberus than that thing that I saw in Demi-Kids.
Did you get on the Hydra's back?
Did you get on the Hydra's back? Oh, I'm still traumatized by that stupid game. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will dive into the lore of Cerberus. Hello! Did you know we have an Etsy shop where we make handmade perler bead art of classic video game sprites, including Shin Megami Tensei demons? And yes, we even made a Cerberus with glowing red LED eyes. He's lovely. If you want one for your collection, head over to HamsterBombStudios.etsy.com, and just for our podcast listeners, use the code Demonica10 for 10% off your order. We do commissions. And we're back with more Demonica. Now, it is time to ask the question, Kim, who or what is Cerberus?
I wasn't ready.
That's what the break was for.
I started joking on my spit. Okay. So, I'm just going to go over kind of the base description first, which we already pretty much know from his description from SMT. You know, they got this one pretty accurate.
Yeah,
so...
it's a one-headed white dog.
Well, I'm not talking about the description. I'm talking about the text. The lore text.
The lore description, yes.
So, Cerberus is from Greek mythology and described as the hellhound of the underworld who devours anyone who tries to escape. He also refuses entrance of living humans to the underworld. He will also eat them.
However, now what happens if Cerberus eats a living human who tried to enter Hell or Tartarus?
What do you mean?
Don't they die and go to Tartarus?
Maybe, but they might just be stuck in limbo in his intestines. I'm not entirely sure.
So, wait, there's a special limbo inside? Christians created, the Catholics, I believe, created limbo in their own little purgatory world. I don't know if the Greeks had a limbo.
Okay, well, there wasn't an explanation for what happens to you after you get devoured by Cerberus.
I'm just saying, isn't it a little stupid? If he's supposed to guard people from coming in...
They don't get to enjoy the spoils of the underworld. They get to enjoy being stuck inside of a monstrous dog's tummy.
What the hell is a spoil of the underworld? You know, I'd like to vacation there if it's that nice.
No, it's not like it's like hell or anything like that. It's just the underworld. That's just where you go.
It's just where the reptilians live?
No, that's in the center of Hollow Earth. Get it right.
Then where's the underworld?
With the Germans.
It's just the opposite of Mount Olympus. It's really far the other way.
In most cases, Cerberus is not considered a demon, but is just a monstrous dog. So that's something I thought was weird, because a lot of times there's descriptions of hellhounds, but they're never considered demons. They're just hellhounds. It's like their own separate species.
That's just a thing that lives down there.
Cerberus was born to Typhon. He's a monstrous giant, top half a man, snakes for legs, 100 snake heads for hands, and hundreds of wings.
My question immediately was, what's between the human half and the snake legs? Because he had a lot of babies.
Must be just
Baphomet snake penis. Because that's... I'm sorry, that was only from Berserk. Listen to the Baphomet episode. But like...
Well, no. Okay, so here's the thing. All the babies are with his wife. Keep in mind.
Yes.
Echidna is his wife.
Who was a boss in Shin Megami Tensei 1.
A half woman, half snake monster. So she lays eggs, right?
Right, yeah. In SMT, it's just like a woman's head, and then like a snake's body comes out of the back of the head.
Yeah, does Typhon have like a cloaca? Like, what's the situation here?
At least they're very snaky.
I just enjoyed the fact that they were actually married. These two monstrous, terrible things were married.
I wonder who wed them. That was probably a beautiful marriage.
Maybe it was Zeus. I don't know.
The honeymoon in the Everglades. Where do snakes go on their honeymoon?
I don't know. He's not a snake. He is the man body-ish than other snakes.
Echidna is 90% snake.
I just don't know where the wings also go after all of the snake heads.
Yeah, I've seen the top half of a human male before, and there's no wings, so I'm a little confused
I
too.
just, enjoyed the description of Typhon was so ridiculous, and then Echidna is just, it's half woman, half snake. Nothing special.
They say half, but in
half.
SMT, ain't half. It's not the important half. It's just, if someone's like, oh, it's okay, we can make this work. It's like a Gorgon or something. No.
Well, I think she's also the mother of Gorgons, so that's interesting.
Sure.
So symbolically, Cerberus usually represents guardian, protector, and our fear of mortality and death.
Yeah, if you think like, oh, don't let somebody try and take their own life. You gotta outlaw suicide somehow with having an actual repercussion and scaring the populace.
Here's a giant
so
hellhound.
The idea is, if you do so and try and get into Tartarus early, you're going to be devoured by a giant hellhound, and we don't know what will happen to your soul because nobody wrote that part.
Also, he symbolizes internal struggles, which is why he usually has more than one head, is to symbolize the internal struggle of man.
Like they fight with each other.
Yeah, being at odds with itself all the time.
Oh, okay, so I guess in SMT, he's just got multiple personality disorder.
I guess, I don't know.
Poor guy.
So he was, for the most part, described as having 50 to 100 heads.
Oh, Lord.
But it's believed to have been reduced down to 3.
3 is the minimum?
Yes, 3 is the minimum.
Oh.
He has never gone lower than 3.
Really? Monkey puppet shifts eyes.
So some of the speculations for why he switched to 3 was just that was really hard to make into a sculpture and really hard to make paintings of. So of course art dictated that he have less heads. And then philosophers and writers started changing to him only having 3 heads. So there aren't too many writings where he has the 50 to 100 heads, but
I can see early incarnations where they didn't have to illustrate anything saying that, and they were just trying to scare people. This dog has 50 to 100 heads.
He's also, in most representations, depicted as being very large as well. He's not a small dog by any means.
Well, you'd have to put all those heads on a body somehow. How many shoulder blades does he have? How many spines does he have?
We didn't even get to talk about his other heads yet.
If he has 3 heads, that means he has 3 spines. He has 3 tails.
So so that's the thing. There are several different things that say he also has more than one body. So he'll have 5 legs and 2 backs. It happens a lot with his description.
I'm feeling bad for this thing now.
It's kind of just an amalgamation of things stuck together, or it's constantly shifting forms. The 2 backs one I thought was the weirdest, or it wouldn't be 5 legs. It would be 3 in the back and then 4 in the front.
I think I can explain this. Typhon and Echidna were brother and sister.
Okay, I don't even know what's going on Typhon, but he has over 100 snakes for hands, so...
I'm just saying, I think this is one of them Alabama marriages. This child is having issues.
I don't think they are, actually. I don't think they're related, which is surprising in Greek mythology. So we need to talk about also... There were snake heads that come out from his back?
Yeah, I've heard that there was a snake for a tail. I think it was in the lore description, right?
Okay, so yeah, so he has a bunch of snake heads coming out of his back, and then he has a venomous one that's specifically his tail.
Oh, so like snake head spines?
I don't know. They're
Like
just coming out of nowhere. There was no specific description of
Like a
where the heads come
stegosaurus?
from. It's just like coming out, and you know, and it's like the same numbers, like 50 to 100. I don't know.
You can't give him pets anywhere. How do you tell him he's a good boy?
Yeah, I don't know. He is a good boy, though. And he's typically always described as having black or dark colored fur, SMT. Thanks.
Yeah, they made him white. He's so messed up. He does not have a snake on his tail in any incarnation. Though, he almost got close in the three-headed one. I was, like, really hoping, like, in Strange Journey, when they gave him 3 heads, like, oh my god, he's gonna have the snake tail. Like, glance down, nope, never mind.
But
It's just never happening.
Disney's Hercules, he does not have a snake tail either.
I don't think he has a tail at all on Disney.
I think he has like a little docked
Like,
tail or
yeah,
something.
A little nubby thing that he can drag. They probably wanted to give him personality.
And I know you would ask me about this before, but there aren't any sources I could find that said that he could breathe fire.
Yeah, what's up with that? He always
He cannot breathe fire, so... But Typhon breathes like a lot of fire, so... Like, I can see the relation.
They were trying to give him an element in SMT, and if they're gonna pick one,
okay, but
he's the guard of the underworld, and sometimes the underworld is frozen, like in Norse. So, like...
But then he would like it if it's cold, and his
Well,
weakness is ice.
Well, then it would be the other way around. I'm saying if Cerberus was Norse, I think his fire-ice weakness resistances would be switched.
Okay.
But since he's Greek and it's like fire underworld, maybe they were going...
There's no fire in the Greek underworld.
There's
Where's
not?
that? No! It's the river Styx. No!
I'm just thinking of Italian mobster Hades. He's Jewish.
Jewish.
He's a Jewish man. That was it. He's an angry Jewish guy. I got my personalities all mixed up.
Yeah, he's mostly associated with being venomous. He never breathes fire. I don't know where that's coming from. Does he inflict any ailments or anything?
He uses fire breath. Oh, ailments?
Yeah.
No, okay. No, like, the big thing that they gave him in the early games, he doesn't really do this so much anymore, was Samarakarm, which I didn't say what it does, but Samarakarm is a full HP recovery from a downed ally.
I mean, I'm fine. Like, I like the idea of him being, like, the protector and the healer. Like,
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
I don't know about healer, but protector and, someone who can, like, revive, sure, I guess. They gave it to him because he is this icon that you're given at the beginning of the game, and he protects you. Mm-hmm. He's trying to keep you alive. So,
if that's what he looks like, now we gotta go back to, like, when he was first written about, which can be a little bit tricky because, a lot of people have oral tradition versus written tradition, and he was talked about a lot before he was written down.
Woof.
So, the first documented mention of Cerberus was in a poem called Theogony by Hesiod in the 800 BCE, approximately. The poem describes the creation of myth of gods in Greece. The creation stories that were written are also very similar to Sumerian and Babylonian at the time, so I thought that was interesting. And I don't know if he's stealing from them or if all the same weird stuff is happening to everybody at the same time.
So, is this multiple people describing the same creature, or are they using the same name? Or both?
I think they're just describing the same type of creatures, but they're not using the same names. And it's not specifically, but it has very similar, like, story tropes and story points to it.
Okay, because I've seen it spelled a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Karabos and stuff like that.
Which made me, in the beginning, think of Kiro from Cardcaptor Sakura, because I think he was originally supposed to be, like, a Cerberus-like character, and...
He kind of turns into one in the end of the anime, doesn't he?
Right, but his name's... I think it's Karabos or something like that.
I just revealed that I've seen the beginning to end
I
of
wonder
the original
why
anime
he's
of
seen
Cardcaptor.
all of it.
She made me watch it.
He didn't even watch the second season.
It's okay, I couldn't
How
take
dare
it.
you?
I couldn't take it anymore.
How dare you?
But yes, I think he was supposed to be a Cerberus character. Isn't his full name Cerberus?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably where that's coming from. Why did I know that?
Hey, you were getting into clear card with me. Tell me you weren't. Anyway, let's get back on track. So I want to tell you guys at least the main story that most people, like the main Cerberus story with Hercules in it. So this is a wild story, as you know, most Greek stories are.
I'm ready to be wilded.
Okay, Hercules had killed his wife and children in a fit of rage.
Oh, did he now?
Supposedly caused by Hera.
Wait, his mom?
Hera is not his mom.
Well, his
mom
right. His mom is a human.
Is a human.
I'm sorry. Disney threw me off. That's his dad's other wife.
It's horrible.
Oh, what? This is just how the story starts?
This is how the story starts.
I'm just imagining Disney Hercules doing all these things, by the way.
I know, me too. It's great. Sometimes I imagine Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, he can go the distance. He's like dragging his corpse of his family.
I'm gonna trip over this name because I've been really good about trying to write down pronunciation so I don't mess it up too badly, but I didn't write down a pronunciation for this
so it's gonna show up in next episode's
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
So for this act, King Eurystheus?
That sure sounds Greek.
Yeah, for this, King Eurystheus had sentenced him to perform 12 labors of penance.
Oh, that'll do it.
I also had read at some point, even before all this happened...
First labor, life in prison.
I did not want to get into what each of the labors were. There were a lot, and Cerberus is the last one.
If they're all less than life in prison, he got off easy. Because that's what should happen to someone who murders their entire family out of a fit of rage.
So I find it just really funny that it was supposedly brought on by Hera because, you know, she's a real jealous type. If you know, which is crazy because her husband sleeps around with everybody.
I don't know why she's married to... Well, it's part of the story. And this angered Hera. No kidding, she married the worst man in history.
But I had also read Hercules hated his marriage to Megra. Like, she was like a gift to him or something like that from another king or something.
Oh.
So, yeah, Disney... Take that.
Take that, Wonder Boy. She heard Wonder Boy one too many times, got her neck snapped.
So, I'm not going through all the 12 labors. Like I said, it's a lot. But for his last labor, he was given the impossible task to overpower Hades' hellhound without weapons. Hercules had managed to subdue Cerberus and bring him to the world of the living to present to the king. Along the way, it's said that Cerberus slobbered venom drool all over the earth, which is the origin for the lethal plant, aconite. Or, as we know it, wolfsbane.
I don't think there's a single instance of Cerberus using a poison attack.
Which is ridiculous. This is what he is known for.
That's his story. Well, what the heck? Fire's probably better.
A lot of stories involving Cerberus, and they're basically how other Greek heroes and gods subdued him, and I'm just starting to think he's not that great at his job.
Who did he stop? Do we have a story of who he stopped?
I don't know. I mean, Hercules, wrestled him. Orpheus played him music.
Whoa, that was it?
Yeah. Psyche made a honey cake distraction. I didn't look more into that.
I mean, have you put a cake on the floor next to a dog?
Oh, but then...
Have you seen what they do?
I'm going to say it's Enesis? Put drugged honey cakes. Apparently this dog loves honey cakes. And Medea, I'm sorry, I'm butchering these.
Yeah, you should have looked up the pronunciations of all of this stuff before sitting down to
This
start.
one just said magical abilities. Well, I've been really good about it. I did that with the Baphomet episode, and I missed a few this week. Like I said, there's a lot of stories out there about Cerberus. You can look them all up if you want to, but the Hercules one, that's the main one it's known for, and it's way more gruesome than whatever Disney did. So, I just wanted that to be known as per tradition, I guess.
I'd like to know how this benefits anybody. So, Hercules murders his family and is given penance. Who cares about the other labors? To go and kill Cerberus, or just subdue him and take him?
No, just subdue him. Yeah.
Okay.
So Cerberus is returned back to the underworld after this. He is.
I was gonna say, because Cerberus had a job. So does it benefit anybody in Olympus that Cerberus is not doing his job for a little bit?
Well, no, but this isn't penance for him. It's penance for the king.
He could have gone down there and gotten his wife and child back.
That's how it works in Disney.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he could have just dove into the spirit goop soup.
We were highly influenced by this movie as children.
This movie that I listened to and not watched.
Yes, another sad glimpse into Alex's childhood. So we see Cerberus today because he's everywhere and everything. I think he also has a squishable. There's always a squishable. I think
he's everywhere if you look. If you don't think of that, he's probably nowhere.
He's typically got 3 heads and dark fur. We've already talked about some of the references, like the 90s. Cerberus, he of course shows up in several video games like Hades, God of War, Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, did it actually get him right? Final Fantasy notoriously can't do anything right. He's
like kind of serpentine, but he's got a 3-headed black body and a red underbody.
Okay, that's a lot closer.
It's really hard to tell because it's FF8. You know those graphics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, I'm looking at you, Squall, or at least I'm trying.
He's also in a few other things that I found, like My Little Pony, apparently.
Yes. Wait, there's just like a 3-headed abomination pony?
It's not a pony, it's a dog. He's Cerberus.
Oh, with snake tails?
I don't know if he had snake tails. I didn't look at it very long. I was like, of course he's in My Little Pony. Mythical creatures.
If you try and take it out of the little girl's room, does it like drool poison?
I don't know. He's in Harry Potter. I remember that. Oh. And Percy Jackson, too. So
yeah,
it's Hagrid's dog.
It's been too long. I don't remember.
Speaking of literature, he also has a prominent role in Dante's Inferno.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
So, of course, I had to go and look up some traditional art of Cerberus. I kept trying to find, but it's very difficult to find dates on these things because they're so old.
How much the Romans and the Greeks were into making art, I'm surprised they didn't have some depictions of these characters or creatures that they were into.
Yeah, I mean, they had some. They just, like, the one I found was a real cute statue. It's like a twin statue, so it has Hades and it has Persephone. And next to Hades is this little puppy with 3 heads that only goes up to, like, his knee. And he's just sitting there being a good boy. And it's from 150 CE, so it's a lot newer. That's
much more recent.
Right.
Somebody was just like, hey, let's take some of that ancient lore, because that was ancient lore to them, and decided to try to make some cute art for it.
Well, and then Cerberus is also good buddies with Persephone, because he has to let Persephone go back and forth for the seasons, so...
She knows exactly which ear to scratch to give him, to make his leg kick.
I just don't think he's all that, it's like a Samoyed guarding the gates of hell.
He just smiles at you. He wants a good pat every once in a while. Put down a honey cake for me, please.
There's also a very famous statue of Hercules, like, wrestling Cerberus, and he's got, like, one head under one arm and, like, another head, and is, like, wrestling.
I think I've seen that one,
Yeah,
actually.
It's a very good statue. I couldn't find exactly where it was at in Greece, but...
Yeah, they loved contorting the male body.
Yes,
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So overall, I feel like, Cerberus, it's very different from how we looked at Angel and Baphomet. Like, I feel like Cerberus's, like, symbolism hasn't really changed as much over the years. It's always been, like, this guardian, this protector, this, like, duality from mortality and things like that.
He's a good guard dog.
He's a good boy. Not good at guarding, but he's a good boy. Sure, a lot has changed visually, though, from varying descriptions. And overall, just wrapping it up, I feel like SMT kind of missed the mark on Cerberus's design. Although he definitely gives me those protector vibes, at least in those games. So, like, I like that his symbolism and his traits are still there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they didn't give him, like, a ton of snakes, and why is he not venomous? And
the venomous thing is the one that's starting to bother me the most.
Why is he white?
Like, what's with the fire and the ice weakness? I mean, okay, he's got to be weak to something, and he's got to be strong against something, so they picked fire.
I know his daddy shoots fire everywhere out of the 100 snake heads, I guess.
And, sure.
They never said if he had a human head or not. He just had the upper half of a man for Typhon. I can
show you what he looks like in SMT after this if you want. It's not what you think.
I can show you what he looks like in Final Fantasy, and it's not what you think.
Yeah. Nothing is what you think if it's in Final Fantasy.
So yeah, what do you think overall about Cerberus from SMT?
From SMT, I really like the creature. I mean, I made a huge perler of him with light up eyes.
I do have to say, as much as I am just crapping on his design, I actually love his design.
Yeah.
If I look at it in a void.
Oh, yeah, ignoring the fact that it is supposed to be what he's supposed to be
Right.
based on. He's a terrible representation of Cerberus, the mythological creature, but he's their Cerberus. And I am okay with it being their Cerberus, because he's their protector in their universe. Do you think that Cerberus is supposed to be law, chaos, or neutral?
Law.
Law? Mm-hmm. Why?
He does what he's told to do.
Well, that doesn't... Okay, I can kind of see that, but I feel like it should be neutral, because I feel like anybody... Like, he's the guard dog to Tartarus, and following Hades, which would be a very chaotic...
That's pretty
and
neutral.
he kind of just does... He just does what he's told.
Well, I never think of neutral as being an option for a demon.
Yeah, there's supposed to be... If you think, like, 30% of the demons are law, 30% chaos, 30% are also neutral. And I kind of liked that our first 3 demons that we did, one was law, one was chaos, one was neutral, one was debatably chaos, mostly chaos in its games.
Law.
I know Kim's still not happy about. Maybe next time. But there were some other sea demons that I was also thinking we could have done here. I really like Kukulane, but I definitely understand.
Oh, you should see what he looks like in Final Fantasy.
Cerberus is a much bigger character. It didn't occur to me until doing the research for this that Cerberus is older than Jack Frost in the series.
Yeah.
And Cerberus has much bigger roles.
Is Jack Frost neutral? I feel like he should be neutral.
Jack Frost is neutral.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, be sure to tune in to the next episode where we will summon a new demon that begins with the letter D.
I'm so excited!
Yeah, this is... Okay, we already know what it's going to be, and this one's a weird one that you might not expect. So, anyway, we're excited for this one. Let us know what your favorite demon is that begins with the letter D, and what you thought of this episode. We would love to hear from you. You can find me online at HamsterBomb on YouTube, where I host a long list of Let's Plays, reviews, and live streams. And thank you all so much for listening. Take care not to let the demons possess you while you sleep. And we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye-bye.